What is up, Reezy Ninjas? Welcome to episode number 49. Boom, 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 49 of Reezy Talks. Today, I got two special guests that I met last weekend. I think it was last weekend in Canada. We got Josh Profits and Chris, aka ToonieFlip. What's up, guys?
What's going on, man?
So today's episode, guys, we are going to be talking about selling on Amazon versus .com versus selling on Amazon.ca. Canada, America, pros, cons, why you should sell here, why you shouldn't sell there, whatever you should and shouldn't do. We're going to learn about it tonight. And this is a beer episode, so we are drinking beer. So if you would like to drink a beer and join us in that journey, that's great. And if you have any questions, as always, put them in the chat, all caps question, and then put your question, and we will get to answering questions maybe in about 15 minutes or so, something like that. But this episode is particularly useful for any American sellers that want to sell in Canada or have considered it, Canadian sellers that want to sell in America, and even American and Canadian sellers that are thinking about selling in the UK. Because as you'll learn, Canadians have an advantage over Americans just because of their natural evolution of being Amazon sellers. They are more adapted to selling across their country border than we are as Americans. We're super comfortable. We're over here with our cotton candy pillows just kicking it. But a lot of us want to sell in the UK, and we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. What should I do? Should I try whatever? But tonight we're going to learn about a lot of stuff. So first off, let's start off with Josh. Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been selling, how you got into selling? Just give us a few minute Josh Profit intro.
All right, man. So yeah, my name is Josh. Basically, I'm 27 years old. I've been reselling full time for just over a year now. I started in January, February of last year. Reezy actually got me into selling e-commerce online. I had never sold anything online before until I came across Reezy and saw him flipping books. That was kind of my introduction into flipping online.
So what, you were just like on YouTube, just like watching cute kitten videos, and then up pops Reezy?
Yeah, man, pretty much. Like, I don't know what I was looking at. Maybe some like thrift videos or garage sale type stuff.
Right.
I've always been a reseller. I've always sold stuff like since I was a kid, but I've never sold stuff online. So yeah, I came across you somewhere, YouTube or Instagram. And
so you've always been going to garage sales, yard sales, buying stuff?
Not so much yard sales and garage sales. I would always just kind of flip things locally. Like I would buy stuff off like Craigslist or Kijiji and kind of do like a local arbitrage. So I would buy stuff from there and then resell it.
You guys have Craigslist in Canada?
Yeah, we do, but it's not nearly as popular as your guys' Craigslist.
So first tell them what Kijiji is, because they don't know.
Yeah, sure. So Kijiji is the exact same thing as Craigslist. It's just the Canadian version of it.
So it's free classifieds, sell stuff.
Exactly.
Post job ads.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, that's basically how I started. And then from there, I started selling books online. Reezy got me into that. And then I jumped into wholesale real quick. And then from there, I just kind of scaled up my wholesale business. And last year I did $250,000 in sales. So yeah, boom, man. Like it was a huge year for me. It wasn't even a full year of reselling because I was actually gone backpacking for a month and I was sick.
Where'd you go backpacking?
Central and South America.
Dude, that sounds tight. How come we didn't talk about that when I was there? That's awesome.
Man, we had a lot to talk about, but it was dope, man. It was a great time.
Is Kijiji owned by eBay?
I don't think so.
I think they're owned by Google.
Yeah,
really?
I'm not sure who they're owned by, but they kind of cross. Like if you post something on eBay, they'll actually display your ads on Kijiji, which is really cool. I have a lot of local people that buy stuff from me directly from my Kijiji ads that are also like cross-listed on eBay. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. So real quick, before we get into Chris's introduction, I just want to say that the idea for this show and the reason behind it literally came from a car trip with Chris to downtown Toronto. We were going to eat, and our car conversation was just so fire that I was like, dude, I wish I was filming this for the vlog because this is such good information that everybody would like to know. And then I had a genius idea. I was like, yo, let's just do a live show. And of course they agreed. So here we are. And let's get into Chris. How's your story? Like, are you, Josh, you're full time, yeah?
Full time, 100%. This is my sole source of income. Is
Awesome.
Amazon, eBay, and local sales.
Didn't you say you had a rental property or something?
I do, yeah. I'm an active real estate investor as well, but that that's not really a part of my full time income. This is my full time.
Right. You said you're mostly just paying off your mortgage for the property, right?
Exactly. A little bit of cash flow month to month type thing, but
Cool.
that's right.
Cool. Yeah, because that's interesting too. A lot of us want to get into realty as well.
Yep.
So Chris, tell me similar thing about you, your story, how you got into reselling, how you got into online, anything else about your upbringing you want to talk about, and then whether you're full-time, part-time, and if you want to talk sales numbers, we would appreciate that as well.
Sure. Yeah, I'm very part-time. I go outsourcing once a week. I don't do much. I'm trying to get into the whole wholesale thing right now. But I've always been a flipper, like since 15 years old, flipping cars, flipping this, flipping that. And I kind of I just always wanted to go into the online thing. And I had a few companies that didn't work out. I was trying to sell rims. I was trying to sell parts. And dude, you can't do it, man. It's like the Chinese take over everything. You know what I mean? So, and then last 2016, I think it was December, I saw a video. I think it was your video too. And I'm like, you know what? I could do this. So I just, that same day, I had the scanner app, started scanning boxes, started scanning everything.
In your house, or you went to a store?
In my house. So like video games, books, toys, whatever. And yeah, and that like 24 hours later, I shipped my first box.
To Amazon FBA,
Amazon
Canada.
FBA. Yeah, Canada, yeah.
Nice.
So, and then, so it's been about a year and a half, but it's very part-time. I just, like right now I'm trying to scale, which is kind of hard, but but that's the game, right?
They said that you're in the chat, Sean Tang, he said you're being modest. They said you're a flip monster.
Yeah, I do flip equipment, like airport stuff. But that's not just me. I have like a whole group of people that help me out and stuff like that. So yeah.
Can you go into that in a little bit more?
Yeah, so what I do is like a contract for a few companies, and what we do is we buy old equipment, and then they just hire me to paint it, to refurbish it, do mechanic work on it, and then we'll flip it, and it's actually pretty good money.
So are you kind of like a handyman? I think you said you're a mechanic, yeah?
I'm a mechanic. I got my license for like everything, like welding, mechanic, like body man, like collision stuff, everything.
And you can paint, like spray?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. Yeah, I do it all the time. Yeah.
Nice, like body paint, house paint, whatever.
Cars, like mostly cars or like heavy equipment. Yeah.
Nice. I think that's like a common thing, right? Like people who are like handy, they're into doing stuff themselves, right? That kind of like comes from like wanting to save money, or just just liking to get your hands into it. And I just see like a lot of people that are in that type of mindset that also become resellers.
Yeah, for sure, man. I totally agree.
Awesome. So let's get into the differences between Canada and America. Before we start talking about platform specific stuff, let's just talk about the shipping. What's the deal with the shipping in Canada?
You want to start, Chris, or me?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Apparently it was pretty hard before. I don't think Amazon and UPS were partners at that time. But now it's pretty easy. Like you pack your box, you do your labels, you print your stuff out and just ship it in.
What kind of rates per pound are you getting to your Canadian fulfillment centers?
I'm not sure honestly, but it's not too much. I don't know, Blake.
To be honest, I haven't done the math on what exactly I'm paying like per pound when I'm shipping it in, but we do have, like, UPS is a partner carrier with Amazon, like you guys have. So we do get discounted rates. So like that's good. For my wholesale, I ship volume. So let's say I'm shipping, I don't know, let's say 10 boxes that are like 15 kilos a box. So, that's like 30 to 40 pounds. I'm probably going to pay close to 40 $40, $50 to get it to the fulfillment center. Now I live pretty close to the fulfillment center, so it's way under $1 a pound. That's for sure. You know,
Right.
It's cheap. It's really next to nothing. The shipping costs get expensive when you're merchant fulfilling yourself. That's when you
and
get
a dollar Canadian is like 75 cents American or so, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
75, 80 cents. If you guys are watching this live, let us know what a conversion is from a dollar Canadian to American if you're on the chat. Do you guys do any LTL pallets? 75, 80 cents. If you guys are watching this live, let us know what a conversion is from a dollar Canadian to American.
Your video is repeating itself.
Do you guys do any LTL pallets? Hold on, is that me or is that you guys? 80 cents. If you guys are watching this live, let us know what a conversion is from a
Chris,
dollar.
Is your video on YouTube?
No. I think it was me. You guys do any?
Okay.
No. It wasn't me.
That was me. Sorry.
Oh,
All
okay.
right, cool. Either way, I was freaking me out for a second, dude. I was like, I already stopped talking. What's going on?
So
$1 is about $1 Canadian, 77 cents American.
Okay.
Yeah, every now and then,
but you guys haven't done LTL pallets yet?
No, not me.
No, to be honest, like my shipments were so cheap that I just never really got into it. I could be doing them because I think I do enough volume that I would ship out probably a pallet a week.
Are you doing like 300 pounds or more per shipment?
Yeah, let me do the math real quick.
Yeah, because at least for me, it depends on, at least in America, it depends on how close you are to the and sorry to ask you a question in pounds, which makes 0 sense to you. It depends on how close you live to the fulfillment center. Which is, what makes it worth it for you. For me, I start saving at about 350 pounds, which is, one pallet, not even full, because I think you can do 1,500 pounds on a pallet, which would be massive if it was all books. But another person I know, they don't really make savings until they have like 2 or 3 pallets worth. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah, you know what? I just did the math, and my average shipment is about 330, like 350 pounds. But I think you're right. When I did the math, my one pallet, it wasn't going to save me much money for the trouble I was going to go through. So I didn't do it. And I think, I had to ship multiple pallets to start getting a discount. So,
you guys deal with pounds in Canada?
Yeah, we deal with pounds.
Oh, I thought you guys are all kilograms.
Pounds is good.
Pounds is good, yeah.
So you guys are tripping me out. You guys use the metric system for some stuff and then the standard system for some other stuff.
Yeah.
All over the place.
It's pretty stupid. Yeah.
Like for distance, is it the same in all of Canada? Everywhere's like that, or is it regional? Because I noticed that, when you picked me up from the airport, you're like, oh, it's just a couple Ks away. But then we were talking about other stuff, and like you guys were saying like inches for some stuff. I was like, what? Wait, what's happening?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. Like if it's like provincial or whatnot, but yeah.
Either way. Okay, so where do you guys sell at? eBay, Amazon, Kijiji, US Amazon, Canadian Amazon. Let's hear from Josh first.
Okay, so I primarily sell on Amazon.ca. I don't sell anything on .com, like Amazon US. Apart from that, I sell on eBay, which is, basically international. And then all the rest of my sales are locally, which are like Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji. Those are like my 2 most used platforms for local sales. But 95% of my revenue comes from Amazon.ca.
Okay. And how about you, Chris?
I do everything, both. I do like all the platforms that I can, really. But 80% maybe .ca and the rest .com. Okay,
and both of you guys are selling on eBay or no?
I do a little bit on eBay.
I sell quite a bit on eBay.
.ca.
It is on .ca, but it gets listed, I guess. It's available internationally, so I ship all over the place.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you're not aware if people have to go to ebay.ca to order that, or because like I offer international shipping on some things on eBay as well, but I'm not sure if they can search for it on their local eBay or if they have to go to .com to buy it.
No, to be honest, I think it's available for anybody as long as they're just generally looking, right? Like my stuff is listed on .ca, but I offer international shipping. So I think once I offer that shipping option, anybody that is basically in other countries has that has access to my listing. So,
Okay.
but
So,
a lot of yeah, sorry,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
a lot of people I find like they sort what they're looking for based on lowest price plus shipping. So my item might not show up near the top of the list because it's going to be cheaper to get it from somebody else due to how expensive our shipping costs are, how far away I am, etc. Right?
Yeah, Pedro in the chat, he says that it shows up on both, which is cool. Good to know. He says it shows up on both, eh?
What's up,
I
Pedro?
told everybody in the chat they have to start or end their comments with A.
That's awesome. Canadian version.
Yeah, A.
Eh?
Every time someone says A, Reezy takes a drink.
This could get interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get another beer. So, what about shipping in Canada on eBay? Is it pretty expensive when we're not using the partnered UPS carriers?
Yeah, so on eBay there are no partnered carriers, so you have to basically pay the cost, like for Canada Post, UPS, whatever shipping carrier you're using, it's going to be top dollar. So personally, what I do is I set my settings for shipping to be calculated shipping. I don't do fixed price because fixed price is just it's so unpredictable and you don't really know how much the shipping is going to cost you. And I've been burned so many times by using fixed price.
Because you guys do not have a flat rate at all for Canada Post, correct?
So we just recently came out with a flat rate version like you guys have, but it's still super expensive. Like I can pull it up in a bit, but the cheapest option for the flat rate is $14.99, and the box isn't really that big. And I
Like
believe,
the size of what, like a pair of shoes or?
yeah, I would say it's about the size of a pair of shoes, like a shoe box. But $14.99, like you can't really get too much in it, and I think your guys is way cheaper than that.
Yeah, we got well, we just have different options, right? So we have the flat rate mailer, then we have the flat rate padded mailer, which is $7. I'm not an eBay expert, but it's like $7, I think, for the flat rate bubble mailer. And then there's the small priority flat rate box, which is pretty much useless. And there's two different sizes of medium and then the large box also. But yeah, it's definitely better for us. You were saying things like, you were talking about like how you would get killed if you tried to ship like a VCR or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's why I always choose calculated shipping. And honestly, it's been working out great for me because every time I ship something, I actually make a couple dollars off each sale. Like they'll charge the customer whatever it is, like the standard rate. And then since I pay for my labels like through eBay's preferred, I guess, platform, which is Shippo now. It used to be PayPal. They give you like a slightly better rate. So I make a couple bucks on like even like a $10 shipment. And if it's like a big shipping cost, like a $60 shipping cost, sometimes I'll make like 25 bucks just off the shipping alone.
Is that because you're overestimating the weight for the item, or?
I always overestimate maybe by like 100 grams, like a very small amount. But for the most part, my shipping calculation, the weight is pretty bang on.
So that's like a quarter of a pound. I think there's 448 grams in a pound. So
yeah, something like that.
So
yeah.
So and Chris, you sell on .com also. So what does that involve? Because you can't like build a shipment and there's no partnered carrier from Canada to US, right?
No, there isn't. So there's a few companies that we use to get it like across the border. So like Chit Chat and stuff like that. But both of the companies are pretty good.
Or like Run in Red or whatever, they were at the conference.
I haven't used them yet, but apparently they're pretty good. They do more like bulk stuff, like they do skates and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know what their service is like, but I know the dude that owns the company is cool. We were drinking beers.
He's got a cool mustache.
Yeah, definitely has a cool mustache.
Yeah.
I choose who I'm going to do business with based on their mustache for sure.
So hey,
Go ahead.
I just pulled up the flat rate for Canada. If you want to hear the rates here, so we have a small box, which is a 10-inch by 14-inch by 2-inch, and that you can put up to 5 kilograms in. That's the max allowable weight, and that's $14.99. So that's a very thin box,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's super thin. What is that like? Is that big enough to fit a board game in or no?
No, man. Like I don't think so.
It's like you could fit a pair of jeans in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like 2 inches. I've got a game here. This game is like 3/4 of an inch, so you could fit like 2 games in there, and it would cost you like
There's no
$14.99.
like first class, like less than a pound, like
No,
letter rate for packages.
we don't have that.
You guys have letter rate though, right?
We
Like,
we
do you
do
have
have, like,
stamps? You put a stamp on a letter, lick it.
Yep.
Yeah.
we do
All
have that. So I do actually use that. That's a great tip. Is that if I'm going to ship things like this, like games. Sorry, the video kind of just cut out on me here. If I'm going to ship games like this, I'll put it in a bubble mailer, and as long as it's under as long as it's under 2 centimeters, so I can just squeeze this through, and it will only cost me like a couple bucks to ship it anywhere within Canada. So that's how I get away with shipping stuff like this.
Okay, cool. So that's like letter rate then, basically.
Exactly. But they actually don't let you ship stuff like this through the mail with letter rates. That's why I put it in a bubble mailer, so they can't really feel it. They say that you can only do what's it called, like paper, you know what I mean, like documents and stuff. So if I'm kind of sneaking and cheating the system by shipping stuff like this, but that's what I do. That's a major tip to save you guys some money.
It's all right. Josh is wearing a black hat. I'm wearing a black hat too.
Oh.
We're on our black hat. But yeah, you got to do stuff like that sometimes to get around the system or whatever. In the States, we have media mail. You guys know about that?
Yeah.
No.
You don't know, Chris?
No, I have no idea.
So media mail is like a really deeply discounted rate for shipping books, basically. So
yeah.
any type of media that doesn't include advertising.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that. We get killed with shipping, which is why people don't do eBay here too much. Like Josh knows his stuff, right? So he's okay. But like me, I've been doing eBay for about 2 months, and I still get like fucked, really,
Right.
So, yeah, I'm just learning it, learning here and learning there. And like right now I'm just doing closing, like used clothes, which is pretty much standard stuff. But yeah, like I don't know about VCRs or anything like that.
You gotta get into it, man. Those DVD, VHS combos, man, they're hitting.
Yeah, man. I got a couple of them sitting on my shelf right there.
And Josh actually just came up on a stack of PS2s. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, man. I actually just flipped them all the other day, so they're gone, cleared
on .ca, right?
On .ca, yeah.
For 85 Canadian dollars each or so.
That's right. Yeah, man. They were actually going on eBay for like 45, 50 bucks, but yeah, I flipped them up onto Amazon and ended up getting way more money for them. So that was
so now you're going to start buying them off of eBay to sell on Amazon.
Absolutely. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. Like the people here don't know the value of like all electronics. So if you go like Uncle Gigi and whatever, you can find some good stuff. It's like all over the place. You just got to do the hustle.
Do you guys deal with any Canadian companies for prep and shipping, or is it just like the cross-border services?
I don't have any, so I just do everything here, like in my living room. I just do it on my boxes. Like it's cool. Like I have room here, so.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, so I don't deal with any prep centers. I do everything as well, kind of in-house, which is pretty tough because I'm very limited with space right now. But there are a couple prep centers in Canada. I believe most of them are out west, and I think there's 3 in total. And there was actually a guy at the conference that is opening up one as well. So I guess that would make it 4. There's going to be a huge demand for that kind of stuff now that Amazon CA is picking up.
Yeah, I made a video. I don't know if you guys watched it, but like you're a reseller when, and one of the comments was when you go to your friend's house and you see their living room and you like shed a tear because you forgot what a living room looked like.
Yeah, I got no living room. I got no dining room. It's just looks like a warehouse in here.
It's all warehouse. This is a random comment, but Walking Faith Flips says Josh has a Hawaiian pigeon accent. Are you from the tropical isle of Canada?
You know what? I wish I was, man, but I'll take that as a compliment.
Do you skateboard, Josh? Or used to skateboard? I see you rocking all this skate gear.
Yeah, man, I used to. I used to be like a diehard skateboarder.
Yeah,
but
same here. I used to skate too.
You know,
dang, dude, what coincidence is that? Skateboarders are out here hustling.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I used to like watching Tom Penny skate. You know that guy,
Dude,
Tom Penny?
Tom Penny's my favorite skater.
Oh, favorite skater,
older
like,
veteran skater, but yeah.
Older guy, yeah. But Tom Penny was he was the shit at that time. Yeah.
Dude, so buttery smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to skate hard, man. Like I tried probably like 3-4 years ago to get back into it, and I just kept bailing so hard. I just hurt myself way too much, man. So
yeah, you can't get hurt. That's actually how I finally outsourced my sourcing. I used to do it myself up until 3 years ago. I mean, I still source, but mostly shoes myself. But I used to source books myself every day until I broke my foot trying to do some stupid hand plant half drunk at a bachelor party.
Oh shit.
And so then I was forced to, right? So I always do my best growth when I'm forced to grow.
Yeah.
I guess the chat, they said they meant you, Chris, not Josh. What's your nationality?
I'm from Chile.
Are you from Chile?
Yeah, South America. Yeah, but I'm Canadian. I think I came when I was 4 or 5, and I was raised here, so pretty much Canadian.
And for all you white people listening, it's not Chile, it's Chile.
Chile. Yeah.
Chile. Come on, guys. You and your tortillas. So how do you get the stuff across to .com using a third-party service? How does that work? You get it already? I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, so like for me, a .com is everything needs to be American. So you need an American address. So pretty much these companies will give you one. So when you prep everything, it's pretty much standard. So you do your box, you prep everything, but when you make your shipment plan, it's that American address, and then pretty much just drop it off at the place where they're gonna do the cross-border stuff, and that's how I do it. Right? There's 2 in Toronto. I use like Chit Chat and this place called forget the name, Stallion Express, which they're pretty good, you know.
So you pack it up like a normal shit, like as if you lived in the United States.
Yeah.
And then they take it from there and they put the final shipping labels on it for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Or do you put the shipping labels and then they take it and like put it into the stream in America?
I'll do the labels and then they'll take the box, and then I don't know how they do it on their side, but it just gets to the warehouse. I have no idea what they do like from when I drop it off.
They just like find a UPS truck and say, "Hey, dude."
You know what? I think that's what they do. I think they probably have a warehouse in the US somewhere, and they bring all the boxes there, and then from there it just gets on the UPS trucks, and then it goes to wherever it has to go.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically they'll bring it across border. They'll handle all the paperwork for you, type of thing, and they have an address in the States, and then from there they can bring it to the fulfillment center for you. They kind of just complete the process for you.
Yeah. So someone in the chat, Toronto Greenhouse, was saying that Stallion will pick your stuff up if you have more than 8 boxes.
Yeah.
Or a fee free if you have 16 plus boxes.
Yeah. One thing that I haven't actually done it like shipped into the States, but maybe you can touch on this, Chris. Pedro was actually telling me that you want to keep your shipments under $800 or else you start to pay like duties or taxes.
Yeah. Like apparently, like once you go above that amount, it gets sent to customs and all this other stuff that you don't want to deal with.
$800 in sales value or in item cost?
Well, that's the funny thing. Nobody really knows. I think it's just like value, like whatever is in that box.
Right.
But I know people that have 2-3 accounts and they just ship whatever they want. They just split the shipment.
So how do you set up a US Amazon account when you live in Canada? How does that work?
Well, they give you the option on like, so they just tell you, hey, do you want to sell on .com? And you're like, okay, cool. And then they just give you the option and the instructions and everything. So it's pretty simple. Like,
so your .com account doesn't have an American address. It's just your Canadian address.
Well, the address that I use is the address that I got from my from the shipping company that I used to get it across the border.
Okay, cool. So when you are like say checking your sales, you flip back and forth between US and Canada to check your sales on the app?
So there's two platforms, and it's actually pretty simple. Just go back and forth. So like if I do for example, I could do like $300 on .ca, 1,000 on .com, and you could just flip back and forth between two platforms. It's actually pretty simple.
And what about when you're sourcing stuff? Do you also scan it and then scan it again to see if you'll make more on the other side?
That's honestly the worst thing. Like we don't have an app that would show you both, so it's kind of sucks. You gotta have to kind of go like you have to scan everything 2 or 3 times, which is kind of like a pain in the ass. But I kind of like learned to deal with it, so that's what I do.
So let's talk about sourcing. Where are some of the places you guys source at? Because I remember one of the things we were talking about was the difference in sourcing in Canada versus in America.
Yeah, you guys get some really like wicked deals. We get nothing here. We like you really got to go to Walmart and dig deep. You know, I don't go to Walmart like too much, but I mean, if you do, it's hard to find a deal.
And that is why, because they just don't have as much stuff, or the prices are higher, or I mean, I noticed the prices were a little bit higher when I was in Canada, even just like from buying food and beer and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of everything. Like we pay like a lot of tax on everything. Things are kind of, I don't know, like just like we don't have clearance aisles, and if you do, it's like just old shitty stuff that you don't really want to sell. So
yeah, that's one thing I've noticed is that the prices in Canada have definitely been higher compared to the States, like just from personal experience. And then I've personally gone to Walmart, Marshalls, places like that. Like I went to Marshalls when I saw you getting big shoe hauls from there and, retail arbitrage and that stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do this too. So brought my Bluetooth scanner down there. I scanned every pair of shoes and I couldn't find a single pair that I could arbitrage and make money on. So, I went to Walmart too, up and down every aisle. I scanned everything. I couldn't find anything. Like Chris was saying, the clearance sections, we don't get these like crazy 70, 80% off clearance on items like you guys. You guys are posting these screenshots of like, $100 item down to $10 or $5. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
You just don't see that kind of stuff. Even store clear outs, like you don't see that kind of stuff. So I think there's a big difference when it comes to retail arbitrage in Canada and the States. Like I know there's a lot of successful retail arbitrage guys in Canada. They just must be really hustling, or they must know the secret spots because it's not as popular, I don't think. Maybe someone else can touch on that, but I know Chris does a lot of retail arbitrage.
I do. I got a few spots. They're my secret.
What are your spots? Tell us your spots.
I need to know too, Chris.
I avoid Walmart, Toys R Us, all of these big retail chains. I don't go to those. I just go to the local stores, and I just source there.
So like the smaller retail stores, you're still talking like new stores, yeah?
Yeah. But I mean, like they're, how do I say this? You need to double check everything because sometimes like it's Chinese like knockoffs, right?
Dang,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So basically the consensus is you guys have 10 times less people than we do. So I don't know if you have 10 times less stores, but that would make sense, right?
Well, it's a lot slower here, honestly. It's a lot slower. But you just gotta know like how to hustle, man.
Like in America, we're brand whores. We buy everything. Like we buy stuff and then we're like 5 minutes later, we're like, why did I buy this? I don't even know why I bought this. Like they got me with the commercial, and then you just throw it away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here people are picky. Like you can't sell like that commercial with like the hat for those cats or whatever it was, like the Google commercial. I don't know.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so like you can't sell like just like random like just stuff. It has to be name brand stuff. Like I don't know anybody that does really good with PL here. They just say screw this. I'm going to .com.
Right.
Yeah, so there are definitely, like you said, we have 1/10 the population that you guys in the States do. And that shows in the sales as well. The sales velocity, I would say, is equivalent to that. And you guys use Amazon like it's like a religion. It's like everybody there uses Amazon to buy everything, right? Like here, Amazon, um,
It's like still kind of new here. Like
it is very new here. Not
yeah.
as many people use Amazon. It's up and coming type of thing. People are just starting to get used to it. Um, so you can expect to see probably 1/10 of the sales as you would for the US. And I know a lot of people that are researching how to do Amazon FBA, private label, wholesale, retail arbitrage. They're all watching these big US sellers like Reezy or whoever. And they see those kind of numbers in sales and those crazy Keepa charts that are just insane. Like, we don't have that kind of sales volume here.
So
certain items we do,
what kind of things do you like? What do you not have access to that we have? Like, I know one thing is you guys don't have database scouting tools, right?
Not really, no. We don't have any of the cool tools that you guys have. Like we don't have like which kind of sucks because like usually I'll scan something and I'm like I need more information, so I'm gonna have to like dig through all the data, which takes forever, No, we don't have like what's the one that you guys use for Inventory Lab? I think
Inventory Lab, you guys don't have access to that?
Yeah, we don't have any of that stuff here, no.
Well, we can use Inventory Lab, but we can't use it for our .ca platform, right? It's only compatible with .com platform. So if we're selling stuff on .ca, or sorry, on .com, then we can use it. And I know a lot of retail arbitrage or OA guys use that when they're selling on .com from Canada. But if you're selling on .ca, you can't use Inventory Labs. FBA scan, for example, like it was only compatible for US items on the .com platform. So when I first got into books, I would have to scan every single book with my Amazon seller app, and that took forever. So what I tried to do was hook up. I actually downloaded FBA Scan and all these other US scanning apps, and I would just scan it and just like hope that if it was a good rank in .com, then I would switch over to like my seller app and rescan it and recheck it to see how it was performing on the .ca platform.
Which to me sounds like a valid strategy, right? Use an American database, scan it, but just assume that like divide it by 10, right? So if the rank was 1 million, you would be like, okay, that's terrible. In Canada, that would be like super duper terrible, right?
Yeah.
And
because you guys need like 100,000 is like your 1 million for us. Like if we're talking books, which like a lot of my viewers do books or whatever.
Yeah.
100,000 in Canada in books is like 1 million in books in the US.
Honestly, yeah, you're right. I started buying books with 1 million rank and they just sat, they never sold. I found that the highest rank I would go for books was about 300,000, and even those took a while to sell. So yeah, 100,000 mark would be like the sweet spot. Anything under 100K would be great.
Right. But going up to 300,000 or so, if it was going to bring in like 30, 40, 50 bucks.
Absolutely. You can't go wrong with that for sure. That kind of ROI, like I would sit on something for sure to see that kind of return.
Alexander Ye, he's like 14 years old and he lives in Canada. And I think he lives near Toronto. He's a young Reezy ninja. He was going to try and come out to the event. I was going to try and get him in, but he didn't. I don't know. He had soccer practice or something. But I'm just joking. But he sold books with 1 million rank on .ca.
It does happen.
For sure, man. Like you said, Reezy, like the rank isn't static, right? Like it changes, and just because it's a 1 million rank doesn't mean that it's never going to sell, but it's a good indicator on previous performance. So if it all depends on what your business model is, and you got to factor in your long-term storage fees and what your time is worth as well. For me, I can go and pick up 1 million ranked books, but they're going to sit there forever. So
what kind of prices do you guys pay for books? You were telling me it's not so cheap.
Yeah. At the thrift store, it's like $5 each, I think.
So our most popular thrift store, which is called Value Village, they price their books based on how much the retail value or how much the price on the back of the book is. So if the book is like, you know, $20, they'll actually sell the book for like, you know, whatever. I'm not sure how much it is, $5.99 or something
It'll
like
be like
that.
$5-6, yeah.
Yeah, so that's at Value Village, our most popular one. You can definitely get some good, you know, some good money books in there, but you really have to kind of pick through the weeds. And you know, I would buy a $5-6 book any day if I can make, you know, 30-40 bucks off it. But typically our other thrift stores, you can find books for 50 cents, $1, $2 for hardcover books. So you can definitely find, you know, some cheap books. Absolutely.
Either of you guys do any online arbitrage?
Not right now. No, not me.
I haven't gotten into online arbitrage.
Definitely should. I saw that Tactical Arbitrage added some more Canadian sites recently.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so like after the conference, I'm like, you know what, like this is the next step for me will be just do TA, because like you said, like .com's kind of slow. You have to
.ca,
go
you
wide.
mean?
Yeah. So you have to go wide. You can't really go too deep. So
Yeah, I'm looking to get into OA as well. Just seeing like kind of the results that you've been having, Reezy, and then also seeing the guys at the conference, like Chris said, there were so many people. I'd say 75% of the room was doing OA, and primarily buying in Canada and flipping it onto .com. Things that were out of stock or discontinued in
Right.
.com, they would buy it in Canada and then arbitrage it into the States.
Well, you
And I
guys
think
have to have a huge supply for like I can imagine there's probably so much stuff you could buy in Canada that you guys don't, that we don't have in the United States, you know? Like I was at the airport, right? And I didn't scan anything because I didn't have any time to look stuff up, but I was at the airport, which is like, it's a terrible representation of availability of products. But I was looking at the snack food, right? And let's say there was like 100 kinds of chips and candy. There was at least like 10 or 15 that I've never seen before.
maybe like the ketchup chips.
Just different stuff I'd never seen before. And I was thinking, well, one, I was thinking that I should have bought them and made a YouTube video, Americans Eat Canadian Snacks, but there just wasn't enough good stuff. But at the same time, I was also like, wow, I wonder if these will sell in America, because, you know, there's people that lived in Canada, then moved to America or whatever, just various situations, right? So obviously it works the same the other way too. But I feel like America is so like sucked dry of its culture that like anything we have that other people want, they got it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know anything about Canada. You know what I mean? Like I went there and I was like, "You guys drink milk out of a bag? What?"
Yeah, it's different down there. Yeah.
Toronto Greenhouse poutine flavored chips.
Poutine flavored chips. Those are probably gonna go hard. So someone in the chat, Deer End Vintage, was saying, as a Canadian, I RA in the USA, and I just ship my boxes to .com from my hotel room. And to me, that sounds like a really good strategy, because you're not having to, for one, smuggle it back across the border and deal with that $800 limit. And two, you're not paying for it to be shipped to you, and then also paying for a like Running Red to run it across the border or whatever. Have either of you guys ever done that?
No, not me. No, I think that's pretty extreme. But I mean, if it works for that person, then it works for them, right?
But you guys both live pretty close to the border, yeah?
I'm about 2 hours away. Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh?
I'm about, you know, an hour or so away from the border, or yeah, I'd say an hour or so, maybe a little bit more.
So just
But,
grab you a passport and go to USA for the day?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've never done it. I never really thought about doing it either, but
Sounds like a good YouTube video, Josh.
right?
Okay.
That's pretty extreme, like Chris said, but man, if you can get those kind of deals like you guys are getting, it'd be worth it for sure. Like I would go down there for a day or two and just kill it, you know,
Like
bring a
Toys R Us
U-Haul
right now.
truck or something and just load that thing up, and yeah, I'd
Right.
kill it,
And,
man.
and that's cool selling in the US, but there's certain items that is actually better, more beneficial for you guys to sell on Canada. And generally, it's going to be the stuff that has a really, really high sales rank in the US, and that's just moving fast. It's super popular, right? So Chris was telling me about selling Hatchimals this last Christmas. What did you say you were selling them for, Chris?
I think the most I got for one was I think 250.
Right.
Yeah.
250 Canadian.
Yeah.
Which is a little less American. I don't know. Maybe that's like 200 American, right? Or 215 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you for a fact that Hatchimals were flat dead in the water in America on .com this year. Like they did good last year, and then everybody thought they were going to do good again, so everybody went hard on them. Like they were in the news, right? Like last year it was in the news. Like people had whole rooms full of them, you know? And so people went hard on them this last Christmas, and it was terrible. You know, I sold a bunch of mine, like the ones I sold really early before Christmas, way before, like in the beginning of December, I made, you know, maybe made like 20, 25 bucks on some of them. But then when it got closer to Christmas, you know, when you knew you're going to miss the window, I ended up selling almost all of them for like $5 profit, $5 to $7 profit. And at the same time, Chris was over here selling them for like $200 plus, and I think they were $80 American.
Yeah,
so you were making like 75 American dollars on each one or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is huge. So I think that's what like really opened my eyes as being an American Amazon seller, is thinking that, wow, like maybe I should sell in Canada, because some of these really high ranking, or it's confusing to say high or low, like depending on how you look at your keeper charts. We'll just say good, really good ranked products, like extremely good popular products. They will also sell in Canada, not at as good, but you know, maybe 50, 25% as good. But because there's less supply in Canada, because you guys don't have as many stores, and don't have as many people and don't have as many sellers, the prices stay much higher. You know, the demand is 10 times less, but the supply is like 40 times less or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, man.
And at the same time, not only like you guys were telling me that as a country as a whole, you guys are like a few months behind America, like on catching on to different trends and stuff, right?
Absolutely, we are. Yeah, maybe that's why, like in the U.S., you know, you guys didn't see the demand for the Hatchimals, and then we obviously still had a strong demand for it. So
yeah, well, we still had a demand. We just had a way too large of a supply because everybody was selling them. You know, people were like mortgaging their guest house and buying Hatchimals.
Yeah, you know what? Like we do have a lot less competition here. That's a big bonus of selling on .ca, is that, yeah, the sales may be a lot slower, and you know, you'll get a lot less sales, but the competition is a lot lower as well. Like we don't have as many people hopping on listings and stuff like that. So I use that to my benefit. A lot of people stay away from .ca when it comes to wholesale and private label, but .ca is my primary source of income. So you know, I don't shy away from it and just kind of double down on it.
Yeah, I got to get selling on Canada. One thing is that I don't believe DVDs and CDs are gated in Canada, correct, Josh? Chris?
I think you could sell some of them, yeah.
Well, in America, you can't sell CDs at all, I don't think, if you're a new seller. And DVDs as well. And there's like two levels of gating. There's like, yeah, you can sell CDs, but you can't sell popular music, which is anything under 100,000, which is all the good stuff, you know. Anything you've ever heard of is in the 100,000 rank or less, right? And then DVDs are MSRP of $25 or less. You can sell, but you can't sell, which is those are all the seasons, right? Which are the ones that are worth money. And like I got kicked off CDs, and this was like maybe a couple months after I got a CD refurbisher, and I was selling like lots of CDs, refurbishing them, new cases, refurbished. They look brand new, right? I was selling them as like new, and customers would give me like feedback saying like, I ordered used like new, and it's new. You know what I mean? And so,
Awesome.
yeah, that's pretty cool if you could sell them in Canada, and get them off, because I feel like CDs are really untapped. Like a lot of people are like CDs, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like cars still come with CD players. Like go to a car lot, like brand new cars still have CD players. And I think the truth is that like CDs are more ubiquitous in culture than books, right? So like more people listen to music and buy CDs than people read and buy books, right?
Okay.
So that's why almost any CD that you grab, you know, if you can clean it up to where it's in really good condition, you know, you could make a few bucks off of it. And then I don't know about what you guys sell CDs for, but in America you can get used CDs for like $1 would be like a high priced used CD.
I've never done
They'd be like a quarter, you know?
Yeah. I've never done CDs, but we don't have any of those issues, I think. Like, I think you could sell whatever you want, really.
Yeah, I
Nice.
think you're right. And I've never gotten into CDs either. It's kind of like one of those things, like you said, like I've looked at CDs and been like, who the hell still uses CDs, right? Same thing as
Right.
books. I was like, you can sell used books? Like, I was shocked, man. Like, you can sell used books. Like, it's just one of those things that people throw away. They give them away. Like, you can go on Kijiji and find people right now giving away bookcases of books.
Yeah.
So, you know, at garage sales and whatever, there is an unlimited supply of used books, same as CDs. So, you know, it's insane, man. I'm gonna look into the CD thing because I've seen a couple US sellers getting into CDs, like Blake, for example. I forget his last name.
Walter B. Knobloch.
Exactly. Yeah, he's heavy into the CDs as well. So, you know, I'm gonna check him out. Same thing as the books. There's big money to be made on stuff that people think are useless and garbage, you know?
Right. I mean, you got to understand there's like a curve for stuff, right? So where there's like obviously, you know, like let's do like VCRs or whatever. It's like VCRs come out and they're like so popular, right? They're like, "Wow, bro, we can record TV shows." And it's like boom. And then they level off and then like DVD players come out and they start dropping down, you know what I mean? And then somewhere in that time period they like stop making VCRs, right?
Yeah.
And then like there's like this renaissance and they just like start coming up, not like this, but like this, like in a steady, like mild angle, you know, for a long time. So like I'm not going to pretend to know why people buy VCRs for so much, like on Amazon and eBay. I think maybe I have like some theories, you know, I'm like, maybe they're like institutions. It's like daycare centers where they don't want to, you know, DVDs get scratched, you know, it's like schools or it's like nursing homes or something, you know what I mean? Like, I really don't know what it is. I try to like make up these scenarios in my head, but there's some reason out there that people are buying VCRs, right? So have you guys ever sold VHS tapes?
I have on .com only. Like it only sells there. Like you can't sell that stuff here. It's kind of
On him right here, man.
Oh, I'm not talking about blank media. Blank media goes hard for sure, but I'm talking about actual movies, right? So most VHS movies are totally worthless. There's only a few that get me excited. There's like skateboard movies, you know, BMX, skateboard, snowboard, that kind of stuff. Like those are like kind of collectible, right?
You got the 411.
Yeah, just older stuff that's like culture sub niche down. Then there's like weirdo like horror movies, right? Then there's like band VHS tapes, you know, like Deftones Australia, like different random stuff. Like some of that stuff was never released to DVD. And same thing with like, you know, something live at Carnegie Hall or whatever, you know, like random stuff. And then black and white movies. So there's some black and white movies that never like made it to DVD, right? So like if you know, like if you see it and it's black and white on the cover and it's like super old, maybe it's like MGM, you know, and like the covers are like one color, like purple around the edge, but then everything else is black and white. And you look at it and it's like, oh, it's such an awesome movie, but like you don't know anybody who's in the movie. Like, you know what I mean? They're like 25 years old and you're like, who the hell are these people? That's worth scanning and looking up because a lot of those really old black and white films never made it to DVD. I came up on it was some kind of charity auction for like cerebral palsy or something, and someone must have died and donated their entire VHS collection, and they were 50 cents a VHS, and there was hundreds and hundreds of them, and like more than 50% of them were sealed, and there was all these black and white ones, and I pulled so many like $20 and $50 VHS tapes out of there. It was crazy.
No way. That's sick, man.
Yeah. So little pro tip. Someone over here is like, yeah, I sold Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z sets.
Oh, for sure. Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z sells no matter what it is. Yeah.
Dude, Dragon Ball Z goes hard. I'm so addicted to Dragon Ball Super right now. Are
Yeah,
either of you guys watching Dragon Ball Super?
No.
I
Dude,
watched it. Yeah. I'm a big fan.
Get on it, man. Get on it. I watched Ryan from Rally Roots. He got me on it, and I watched all of the dubbed episodes in American, and then I was like, dude, I need more. And so I started watching the subbed episodes, right?
Yeah.
And they just kept, dude. Now I'm like, I know, like, I think yesterday it came out, so like 6 or 7 more days, the next one comes out, dude. Goku's still crushing the game. Not that you needed to know that, but
I might have to check that out.
oh, I'm telling you, bro, it's sick. It's not like it's a huge time investment. Each episode is like, I think like 15 or 16 minutes or something, but
Yeah. That's
dude,
cool.
I am like steadily impressed with Dragon Ball Z, whatever you want to call it. Like their ability to like hold my attention. It's like literally Goku just like charging up a spirit bomb for a whole episode, and I'm like I'm totally like glued to the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but it's epic. It's super epic.
Yeah, I haven't watched that stuff in years, man, but I might have to check that out.
Dude, it's better than anything on Netflix, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I could see that.
Check this out right here.
Oh, damn, came in with the Goku right there.
Yeah.
Cool,
Big
man.
fan. Yeah.
Did you find that thrifting or yard selling or anything?
Oh, this was a gift from my brother-in-law. So he knows that I
Nice.
like all this Dragon Ball Z stuff. So he's like, here you go, have this.
Is it missing the Kamehameha, or did it not come with one?
I don't think it came with one, but it'd be cool if it did, you know?
Yeah, Pedro came with a good tip, and this is a great tip. I actually want to like compile like huge guides on various niche categories using this method. And he said, just search eBay solds from high to low to get your VHS bolo list, right? So maybe VHS plus new or minus new or whatever, minus VCR. Search for those completed auctions, buy it now, whatever, high to low. You could use that strategy to build a bolo list for so much stuff.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So are either of you guys, I see a couple comments about merch by Amazon here in the chat. Are either of you guys in on merch by Amazon?
You know, it's funny. I'm actually approved and I haven't even tried anything yet. Like,
dude.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was trying to get some designs done, but the guy flopped on me. So I'm like, man, like, kind of got discouraged a bit, but I should jump on it soon.
What's funny is, so in the chat right now, this viewer Ryan Madison says ROFL, which stands for rolling on the floor laughing. If you've been living under a rock, says Reezy gets his motivation from a cartoon show, and I get a motivation. I get a motivation from a lot of spots. But I would say that Goku is entirely motivating just as a character in a storyline. Like, dude just never, ever gives up. Like, he's about to die, and then he's just like, no. And then he just levels up to the next level. Like, who else do you know that's, like, about to die and then just levels up to the next level? I don't know anyone else.
Josh Profits, man. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know anyone else that saved the world as many times as Goku.
That's funny. It's true, man. So I'm on merch, but I'm not really doing too much with it. Like, I got out of the first tier and I'm in the 25 tier now. And, you know, I made a couple sales, obviously, and I outsourced all my designs, but I just kind of fell off it. I was chasing too many shiny objects, and, you know, that's kind of the saying. And I was going for wholesale and, you know, retail arbitrage and eBay and local sales and merch by Amazon. And I just found that every time I, you know, picked up a new project, one of my other businesses would suffer from it. So I kind of had to put merch by Amazon on the back burner.
Yeah, that's huge. Couple comments on that. One, merch is a slow game. It's a numbers game, right? So it's like, I have 800 shirts listed on merch now, and I'll have like if I sell 8 shirts in a day, I'm pretty hyped, right? So, but I had a day where I sold 31 shirts. That was in, I think it was in Halloween. I sold around 31 shirts in Halloween, but it just going through, like, the platform is growing. They're throttling people, which, if you don't know what that means that like you are either are or aren't showing up in search results for your similar products where you should be showing up, and they're doing that for various reasons, some of which we know. They have low supply of shirts. They can't keep up with the printing demand. They're favoring the big brands that have merch accounts like Disney, Star Wars, other things like that. But it's a slow game. But my reasoning is like, look, if I could sell 10 shirts a day, which I'm almost at that point at 800, or let's just say 1,000. If I can sell 10 shirts a day at 1,000 tier, what if I have 10,000 shirts listed, or even just 5,000 shirts, then I could sell 50 a day and an average of $5 profit a shirt. That's $250 profit a day. And it's not really passive. You have to keep making more shirts, and people improve on your shirts, and you have to leapfrog them and look for new designs and stuff like that. But you can outsource it. You can have a designer, you can have an uploader, and $300 a day is like $100,000 a year. And it's just really attractive to me because you have no warehouse, no customer service, no physical employees, all these things. But you're totally right with the shiny object syndrome, like getting distracted from one thing, it's almost like you're playing like NBA hang time and you're creating your character and you only have like X amount of points. And you're like, do I want to shoot really good threes or do I want to like be fast? Like you have to pick, you know what I mean? You only get X amount of credits to build your character. So for me, what I'm doing this year is I've just decided like I'm hiring and outsourcing as much as possible for 2018. Like I finally got an uploader for merch, and it took me a week to between putting an ad and responding to people and finding the right person and training them. But now I'm on day 4 of them uploading shirts. So I missed my uploads, which is 50 a day, for like 7 days. I missed it. But now I'm on day 4 of having a VA upload 50 a day for me, and it's super tight to just wake up and your uploads are done 50 a day, right? So
Yeah.
Short-term loss, long-term gain. But I think that's how I'm personally going to take care of the shiny object syndrome, because I want to do so much stuff. Is like I'm going to do it all myself till I figure it out. Then I'm going to outsource it, and then I'm going to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea, man. Like I might have to try to implement that as well if I can outsource. Like, do you still come up with the designs yourself and then you just outsource the uploading and the design work?
So yes and no. I'm in a mastermind group for Merch by Amazon, and it's a paid group. Shout out to RJ Martinez, and he shares his research in the group every month. So he has a spreadsheet, and he shares the not the designs, but here's the shirts that we're going to make better versions of, you know what I mean? And so I also do research, but it's a combination of the designs I get from him, my own research, and then just me. I have a holiday or a tent pole calendar that my VA looks at, and it's like, look, these are the upcoming holidays on the calendar that we need to make shirts for. And then she'll go and search on Amazon and find her own designs to improve on that are upcoming. Like right now we're uploading Easter shirts or Cinco de Mayo shirts. Or do you guys have Cinco de Mayo in Canada, by the way?
It's actually not, no, like it's not big here, no.
Dude, you're missing out, man.
I know, eh?
Lots of tacos and beer, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, eh?
Dude, where I live, it gets crazy. People come out of the woodwork and they drive their truck around and fly the Mexican flag for 2 days in a row. They don't even take it down the second day. They still rock it.
That's cool.
There's probably some small parts in Toronto that would celebrate it, but it's not like widely recognized. That's for sure.
Do you guys have a large Hispanic population in Canada or no?
I say it's mid-sized. I don't think it's too big. So
let's see. So what are some of the things the things that are holding you back, like from Canada to America, like things we have that you guys wish you had, or just like
it's just the apps. Like we need different kind of software. Our apps are horrible here. So I mean, they try to do their best, but it doesn't work. You know.
So where's all of my software developers at?
That's what I'm saying, right? I mean, if you get us if you go make an app where if you scan something and it tells you, okay, this is good for .com, for UK, for, you know what I mean? That'd be an awesome app. So whoever is out there, develop that thing. I would so buy it.
So like a split screen scanning
Split
app that
screen.
shows both of them.
Yeah, that would be like hands down the best thing.
That's killer. I love it how because you guys sell because your market's not as good as ours, that you guys are like naturally inclined to figure out how to sell in America on .com. And so like it's just normal to you guys, right? Like you even said, Chris, I think you said like Canadians didn't even know we had a Canada Amazon.
You know what? It's funny. Every Canadian seller just thinks the same thing. We're slow here, so just jump ship, go to .com. It happens a lot. Happens all the time. But you know what? Like I told them, listen, why don't you stay here and dominate your like .ca,
Right.
and then go to .com, right? But people don't listen and they do what they want to do, and then they get problems. Like for example, when you get a return on .com, they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So I mean, there's issues that you got to fix, and they don't know, but whatever. Like that's like their thing, and you know.
What happens when you get a return and you sell on .com from Canada? It
Well,
goes back to the fulfillment center?
Well, you can't send it back to yourself, so you're gonna have to find a prep company or somebody that will take it for you.
Oh, so you have to get your unfulfillable inventory removed to a third party.
Yeah.
So basically probably maybe partner up with a United States eBay seller and say, look, I'm sending a bunch of like half broken junk your way.
Yeah, I think most people use Gold Gambit. I think that's what they're called. Which I think they'll take your returns and I think they auction. I don't know if they sell them somewhere or they auction the stuff off, but that's the way like it works with them.
Can you give me another beer? Thank you. My beautiful wife is going to deliver me another beer.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea, though, Reezy. Like if you partnered up with a U.S. eBay seller, or, you know, whatnot, and just have your returns get sent to him, and then, you know, because half the time their return isn't worth having sent back to you, right? Like depending on what you're selling, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
What about what? I just had a good idea for you guys. So as Canadians, you guys should that sell on .com. You guys should place job advertisements in America for Americans to source stuff for you and ship to .com.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, have like a sourcing list. You mean?
Yeah, well, just like that type of thing, or I mean, you obviously have to come up with your pay structure or whatever. What are you going to pay them? Like a flat rate per unit or a percentage or per hour, which is less recommended because you're super remote and you can't track it. But it's just like, look, let's just go super easy when it's like, look, I need NES classics and Hatchimals like as much as possible. I'll give you, you know, $5 for every one that you can get in box up for me or whatever. Then whether you're giving them gift cards or the company credit card or whatever, obviously there's risk involved, you know what I mean? But just being able to source in the States without having to go to the States and also without having to ship over the border, etc.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I've seen a couple guys. You have experience with doing that, right? Outsourcing your sourcing.
Yeah. So the way that I started it was I started with friends and family, and then still like an extension of friends and family. I have a couple friends whose girlfriends, they're like super, you know, I'm not saying my friends are irresponsible, but their girlfriends are just a little bit more responsible.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they're like hustlers. I don't know. Women are hard workers, like straight up. Like shout out to all the hardworking women out there. Cause like, I think women are like way tougher than men, honestly.
Yeah, I do no prep. It's all the wife. I just go sourcing. I come home, here are the bags, here the receipt, do your thing, ship it out tomorrow.
Nice. So I have like, I just send them gift cards or credit cards. Oh, she opened it for me too.
There you go.
Thank you, babe.
Rose is a keeper.
Yeah, you're a keeper, Rosa. When's dinner, babe? I'm hungry. I'm just kidding. Almost done. Oh, it's almost done.
Almost done.
Yeah, so I have, you know, I'll send them gift cards, and then they go out and spend them, and they're like, okay, the gift cards are done, and then I'll pay them per hour. This is a little different because I trust them, right, and I kind of have a relation with them rather than just like a cold hire. So I'll pay them, let's say, $12 to $15 per hour to source shoes. And then I'll also give them $2 for every pair of shoes that they ship off. So if they source 100 pairs of shoes in 8 hours, they just made $120 sourcing, and then they make another $200 shipping those 100 pairs of shoes off. So that's like, a day and a half's worth of work for $320 for the worker.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're looking at it like $2 per pair of shoe is cool, because your average profit on a pair of shoes, at least when it goes right, is like $20, and like a worst case scenario is like 10 or 15, and you're still going to make 8, you know what I mean? So I just look at it like, what's the difference? Like, if you weren't going to have those items to sell anyways, you know what I mean? You can afford to give up some of it.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree, man. It's a great idea.
Yeah, our shoes are garbage down here. They're so expensive. I was actually trying to source some shoes on the weekend. It didn't work out pretty. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and everything's just so expensive down there. Even like the outlets, like it's just expensive.
Dead End Vintage is coming through, very active on the chat. Do you guys know who that is?
I don't think so.
I don't know if you have a YouTube channel, let me know, or an Instagram. I appreciate you contributing to the chat so much. He says that Canada has so many less listings than America that there's a lot of opportunity for Canadian sellers, and that the customers oftentimes will search on .ca and then they go to .com to purchase an item because we have more listings. Do you guys find that to be the case? You scan stuff and it doesn't show up?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So basically, when I started selling on .ca, if I scanned an item and I saw that it, if it didn't populate for .ca, if there were no listings, I would just automatically assume that the item was no good, right? I was like, oh, nobody's carrying it on .ca. There are no listings. There's no previous sales history. I'm not going to carry this item. But as I got more experience with selling on .ca, now
you get excited.
Yeah, man, I won't bypass those items, because what I'll do is a lot of people will type in the items on Google and it won't come up on a .ca listing because they don't have it, and it will come up on the .com listing because everybody's selling on .com.
So you scan it, it doesn't show up. You get excited. You scan it in .com, it does show up. The ratings are good and the ranking is good, meaning it does sell. That's and then you buy it and create listings.
Exactly, and it usually sells like extremely fast.
Everything is like that. So basically what you just described is an opportunity that has a barrier of entry, and then people do what people do, which is get lazy. So I used to be the same way a long time ago. I would scan stuff and then like it wouldn't scan and I would skip. I would just go on, right? And sometimes I still do that if there's only one of an item, like in a retail arbitrage situation, because I'm not creating a product page for one item. Like why would I do that? Shout out to Max Speed. He just tipped me $10 Canadian. I don't even know how much that is. Maybe like $7.65 or something.
Something like that. That's sick.
That's nice, sick. Man. Thank you, Max Speed. But now when I scan stuff and it doesn't show up, now that I'm more wise, especially if there's a large volume on the shelf, like I said, I'll bypass just one item or whatever. But you scan it, it doesn't show up. I get excited. And then I type it in. So it's like one tip that's not like native to Canada or US or whatever, but anytime you can find those situations where you're like, oh, like if you detect yourself being lazy, think of that as like get programmed to realize that like that's an opportunity, right? So if you're not typing stuff in by the brand name or whatever, you are missing out so much money. Like with books and DVDs, CDs, whatever, scan it. Don't worry about it. Especially since like a large volume of it is like waste, right? 90%, 95% trash, right? Yeah. But in a retail situation, you have to assume that like there's demand for products, at least some demand, because like they're on the shelf in a store, right? Like they don't just put stuff there. It's like a test, right? They're like, they buy it and they buy it again and put it back and people buy it. So like, why wouldn't they buy it online? And if it doesn't scan, chances are everyone else is being lazy. Just type it in, like cheese curds, whatever. It comes up. And then you're like, wow, like this 2-pack of these cheese curds is like, I was just at a grocery store last night and I bought a bunch of, I just went with my wife, but I ended up, of course, scanning stuff and buying my own grocery cart full of stuff to flip on Amazon.
Nice.
But it's like, you know, these things are $1.99, but a 3-pack of them will pay out like $14, you know, so that's like put 6 in, get 14 back, you know, just to throw them in a bag, you know, and tape it shut as a 3-pack, right? So you got to be typing stuff in. It's definitely a major key.
Yeah, man, for sure. That's definitely a major key. And checking, you know, if there aren't listings, check if it, you know, how the sales are on another platform to see how well they're doing. And for sure, cross list them, put them on .ca. That's a major key that I just started doing like not too long ago. And I've been getting some great flips by doing that.
Yeah,
So.
I do the same thing too, kind of like with eBay, right? So if like, I'll compare eBay to Amazon in certain situations when I don't feel super comfortable with the amount of data that I get. You know, if I look at an item on Amazon when I scanned it or looked it up and I'm like, okay, like I think this works, but I'm not sure. And then I look it up on eBay and it shows that like 5 sold this week or whatever for the price I want to sell it at, then I'm like, cool, like I feel way better. And then I just buy it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're
cool.
being reinforced by like multiple marketplaces.
For sure. I do that on a weekly basis. There's this one place that I go sourcing every Tuesday, and I always cross check everything. I'll cross check it on eBay, and then I'll cross check it on Amazon as well. Even on Google too. Like I'll see what it's selling in retail stores and then what it's selling for in you know, on Amazon and then on eBay. So just be careful, because I've bought in a lot of things that, you know, it says it's selling for a certain price on one platform, and it, you know,
it doesn't do well. Everyone's like, certain platforms are like different, right? The shoes you buy to sell on eBay aren't going to sell on Amazon and vice versa, right? It's different.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's still a good, like, retail price is a good indicator. Like if you're shopping at Marshall's or Ross or anywhere, you know, like one like tip, and I would assume most people know this, but if you're a beginner, you definitely probably don't know this, but it's like if you're looking at all the jackets and they're all, let's say you're at Marshall's and the jackets are $39.99 or whatever, and you look at the retail tag, which is on the jacket too, and some of them are, you know, $49.99, $59.99, $69.99, $79.99, but you will come across some that are like $189, like $229 or whatever, and they're all still just $49.99 or whatever in Marshall. So those are the ones that I would look up first, the ones that have a higher retail tag.
Yeah, the MSRP. Yeah.
So what are some of the stores that you guys have like that we don't have in the United States?
I think we have the same stuff. I don't know. We you know, we got Walmart's, Toys R Us. We don't have Sears anymore.
No more Sears. Yeah, we're probably gonna lose Sears soon.
Yeah, no more Sears. Besides that, I'm not quite too sure.
I'm not very big into the whole retail arbitrage, like going out to retail stores to buy stuff.
You sell mostly used stuff.
I'll sell mostly used stuff, but other than my wholesale, like all my wholesale stuff is obviously brand new.
Oh, you don't sell used wholesale?
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. 95% brand new wholesale, and the other 5% is like used stuff from garage sales, thrift stores, or local marketplaces.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think we have TJ Maxx here or Ross.
But you have Marshalls?
We have Marshalls, yeah. We don't have I think it's called Burlington Coat Factory that you guys have.
Right. Sound like you've been watching Hustler Hacks videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have any of that stuff here. I think Marshalls is the closest one to that.
All right.
For sure.
So let's talk recently about a recent purchase you made, Josh. You bought a bunch of PS2s. How did you come across those PS2s? And yeah, let's just explain that real quick.
Yeah, sure. So I was using a local marketplace called Kijiji that we were talking about at the beginning of the video. It's the exact same thing as Craigslist for the Americans, just a local classifieds. So what I did was I posted an ad actually looking for items. And in the title, I believe in this specific one was I buy used video game consoles and games. And then in the description, I just put a quick one-liner saying, please text, call, or email with what you have. And that's basically it. And just by throwing it that one ad,
which took you like a couple minutes to do.
Tops, couple minutes. I went to Google. I typed into Google Images video games, and then there's a whole bunch of pictures that people have edited with like all the video game consoles and games like on a table or whatever. I stole one of those, threw it into my Kijiji ad, and within days I had people blowing up my phone and email saying, I've got this, that, whatever. And I had a guy that said that he had a whole lot of PlayStation 2s, 21 of them to be exact, with cables, controllers, and everything. So we arranged a pickup locally, discussed a price, and that's pretty much it. We met at a local Tim Hortons. This guy had a minivan that he pulled up, popped the back door open, had a 40-inch flat screen TV back there, and ran an extension cord to the side of the building to plug it in. And from there, I was able to test some of the PlayStations just to see that they worked, and we verified that everything was cool. Like he was a little bit sketchy and didn't want to meet at his house. A lot of people don't want to bring random people, local sales, their house, right? So that was cool. I got to test a couple of them. It was freezing cold outside, but we did the deal in the parking lot, and that's pretty much it. I brought him home. I originally listed.
You brought the dealer home?
No, I brought all the PlayStations home. I cleaned them up. I actually have a video of me just kind of explaining all this, but I cleaned them up, and that's it. I put them up on eBay originally because I usually don't sell used electronics on Amazon until somebody in my Instagram comments said try to flip them on Amazon. So I looked them up. And sure enough, they sell for a lot more on Amazon, and the sales rank was like crazy. It was like 230 at the time. So I knew they were just going to fly off the shelf once they got to the FBA.
Almost twice as much, yeah.
Oh man, almost twice as much. So even after the fulfillment fees, if I sold them on eBay, I was going to double to triple my money. Selling them on Amazon, I quadrupled. Almost 5 times my money. So it was awesome. Crazy good deal, man. And I sold them all in no time. So that's a major tip, is utilize local ads. It takes no time to put them up, and they just sit there, and people will contact you over time with stuff, offering to sell you.
Shout out to Craigslist Hunter for dropping that tip on us. Thank you, Pete. We appreciate it. Us youngsters, we're still watching you.
Yeah, it was Craigslist Hunter. I get a ton of tips from that guy, and he was the one who told me to do that. So shout out to Pete. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, he's killing it, bro. His YouTube channel is like Pawn Stars.
It's insane, man. Yeah, I love that guy. He's a hustler for sure. Hustler at heart.
Definitely. Do you still sell on Kijiji, Josh?
Yeah. So a lot of stuff I try to cross list onto Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, because personally I would rather sell some of this stuff and get cash for it.
Yeah, and then pay taxes. Wink, wink.
Exactly, right? So if I'm going to buy stuff in cash, I try to sell it in cash, but it doesn't always work out like that. But I do try to do that, absolutely. It's a little more time consuming, but at the end of the day, more money in my pocket. So if I got the time to do it, I'm going to do it. So
what about you, Chris? Do you sell any locally?
I try not to really, man. Like there's a lot of sketchy people out there. But I did a few deals here and there, but nothing big like Josh's. No.
Right. You want to share some of your bolos behind you with us?
I got this one here. Look, it's a Lego Ben 10. I found this at my secret spot right there.
Ben 10 Lego? That's sick. Yeah. I never even seen that.
Now, here's what's funny about this: that on .com, that's going for about $30. On .ca, it's about $78, $79. So you can see the difference between both platforms.
Right. Is that enough of a difference to buy from .com to sell on .ca?
We have a lot less stuff. So, if you do find a rare new stuff, just send it to like .com. Like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. This is confusing, right?
Yeah.
.com, .ca.
It does confuse me too, because like sometimes I'll go sourcing and okay, this is good for .com, for .ca, whatever, and I'll get home, I'm like, shit, I forgot what was for what, and you have to rescan everything, right? So
Oh, bummer.
yeah, so that kind of sucks.
So do you ever list stuff and then go, dang it, I'm in my .com account or I'm in my
Yeah,
Canada account?
happens all the time. Yeah, that's all the time.
Yeah. Shit.
Awesome. So so are you gonna start selling on .com, Josh?
Yeah, I am actually.
And you both are gonna start doing online arbitrage, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I like Chris, like I'm really heavy into the local sales, picking stuff up and just flipping locally. But it's really time consuming, right? Like you got to drive to meet these people, and I'm not going to get into all, the pros and cons of that, but it's very time consuming. And if I can do more work from home, doing online arbitrage and then flipping things on .com as well, I'm going to do it. So I just didn't know that you guys were so successful doing it until I saw the amount of people at the conference that, were doing it full time with like crazy big numbers.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely getting into online arbitrage and .com as well. The primary reason I didn't get into .com at the beginning was because I didn't want to deal with cross-border shipping, and I wanted to master .ca, like Chris said, master the marketplace where I live and just really figure out the platform. And then now that I've really done that and I fully understand everything, I'm going to go to .com, and I think I'm going to kill it, because if I can get these kind of numbers here where people don't even think are possible, I'm gonna go to .com and really blow it out of the water. So stay tuned for that.
Nice. What is the implications, Chris, because you sell on .com? How does that affect your taxes and stuff?
I hired Rob, guy Rob.
Rob Cosman.
Yeah. I was, what, dude, take all my stuff. I don't know. It's very complicated for us down here.
Right.
Yeah. So
So he helps. Rob is a CPA and a Canadian Amazon seller that also sells in .com. So just by nature of doing what he does, he knows how to do taxes for Amazon sellers, and so he has a little business doing Amazon sellers taxes in Canada. And I'm trying to link up with him to get an American version of that going, because we don't have a Rob Cosman in America, right? So.
He's a cool guy. He knows
he's a super cool dude. Like, I hung out with him. And his Instagram is chasing my beach, I believe.
Yeah.
He moved to Costa Rica, so it's really cool. Lives in Costa Rica, runs his business online through Costa Rica, CPA, has sourcers, etc. Just living the dream. And during my speech, I used him at the Canada conference that I spoke at, where I met Josh and Chris. I spoke about him as an example for like YouTube and personal branding and how he could get more clients through that. I'll put his name in the chat real quick. His name is Rob Cosman. If you're Canadian and you need help with your taxes, reach out to him on Facebook. I think would be a good place to get a hold of him, or even on Instagram at Chasing My Beach, I believe is his Instagram. But it's, I hate taxes, so having help with that stuff is immense, right? And like Chris said, he's like, I don't even know. He's like, why'd you ask me that?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, especially if you're doing .com too, because you got to, all the currency stuff and and all the rates that go with it. It's a big headache.
Yeah, that's a big problem that I'm actually dealing with right now, is that I've contacted so many CPAs, in the GTA or in Canada, and not many of them have experience with e-commerce. So definitely utilizing somebody like Rob would be amazing. Like, yeah,
and you guys have to do taxes around the similar time we do too, right? Like,
yeah,
I have to get my stuff submitted to my CPA like in the next 30 days. And then I think the deadline is like April 15th or something.
Almost the
Yeah,
same.
I think ours is about the same as well. Yeah. So tax
Let's see
time's
this.
coming up. I'm not too excited for it. That's for
Oh,
sure.
dude, it's the least exciting part about making money. It's the worst part.
The worst part is that like in 2017, all I was worried about was making money. So I wasn't worried about bookkeeping and saving, too much of my documents and whatnot. Like, thank God I did save quite a bit of my receipts and like all my all my invoices for my big distributors for my wholesale business. That's like primarily, the biggest part of my business. But there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and I didn't, I'm not going to be able to write off, like keeping track of your mileage when you're out driving to these stores and going to garage sales and thrift stores, stuff like that. I didn't know, right? So that's a big expense that you can write off.
Because you started out selling books, right, Josh?
Yeah, I see exactly. I started off selling books, learning from you, man. So
and when you buy a lot, you deal in cash a lot. So do you write yourself receipts for stuff?
So I wasn't writing receipts for pretty much, 10 months of the year last year. And that's, most of the year, most of my money. So all my garage sale stuff, I don't have any receipts for it. Any cash purchases, I don't have any receipts. Now I've just started. I've purchased a little receipt book off of Amazon, as well as an auto mileage book. So every time I get in the car, you can record your mileage of where you're going, and then you can use that to write that off, and my receipts for when I'm doing cash purchases, like you just mentioned. So that's going to help me if the CRA or the IRS, like you guys have, come back to bite me in the butt. So
Yeah, I like how ours, like our least loved agency, but I have no idea. CRA, I guess.
The CRA, the
you
Canada
got a couple
Revenue.
fans out here, Josh. You got I don't know how to say this. Nadurka Durkazar.
Okay, cool. What's up, man?
And Samer Brax.
Samer Brax.
Say what's
up? Man. What's up, Samer?
Sam, when I met Samer, shout out to Samer. He has a YouTube channel too. And I don't know if we mentioned it or not, but Josh has a YouTube channel as well, and Instagram. And Chris has Instagram, and all that stuff is in the description below. So go down there and show our guests some love. But when I met Samer at the conference, he was like, because when you read stuff, I'm like, is your name Samer or Samir? And he's like, no, it's Samer. And I was like, oh, cool, like samurai. And he was like, dude, no one's ever said that before. And I was like, what? They're slipping. Like, you need to come up with something and call it the samurai guide, like something like that.
That's dope. Yeah, Samer's a good guy, man. Glad we got to meet him.
Definitely. I think his most recent YouTube video that he dropped. Are you in that video, Josh?
I am. Yeah, we both are, man. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got like a sneak little appearance in the end, and I think I'll be in the next video, but it's just super cool to connect with creators from different places and just do what we do, right?
Absolutely, man.
What was some of the biggest takeaways that you guys got from the conference that we were at?
It was, what, I met all these new sellers, man. They're so cool. All the tips that I got from them, and just like being around the whole, I think this was the first FBA conference in Canada, which was pretty badass, I think, and so much information just like overflowing. Like the whole weekend was awesome.
So nothing specific, just intense overload of information.
Just overload of information. I talked to Beaver a lot. You know that guy Beaver?
Oh yeah,
he's cool, man. So he's super smart guy. He knows his stuff. So just trying to get information from him. So
yeah, networking is huge. Like, I don't care if you can wear earplugs for the whole conference, but take them out when it comes time to like shake hands and drink beer and talk to people. Like, that's the best part. That's where, I mean, I'm not saying don't actually listen to the speakers. Like, I might be one of the speakers and I definitely want you to listen to me or whatever, but the value is in the networking, Yeah. And so don't be that guy that like the conference is over and then you're the first person out of the building and you go back to your hotel room. Don't be that guy. You should be the last guy. You're like, okay, I guess everyone's leaving. Like, there's no work. Where are you guys going? Like, figure it out, right?
Yeah,
you know what's funny? There was some big sellers, like major sellers, doing 10 million, 2 million, 3 million. You should want to talk to these people. Like, they know what's up,
Right. Yeah, like if you can. I always tell people, I'm like, dude, just start buying people drinks. Like, you never know who especially me, buy me a drink, but you never know who the person is that you're going to talk to or whatever. And just something as simple as buying someone a drink can afford, they'll make them remember you. And you never know, like, what, they might be a 1 million a year seller now, but they might be a $5 million a year seller next year, or they might open a prep facility, or who knows what they're going to do, start some new kind of software. Like, you never know. Like, it's all about the X factor, all that stuff where you can do where it doesn't have like a definite return, but good things can happen. You want to position yourself to have, and in life in general, as many of those as possible, as many of those, like, do as much stuff that can create, like, who knows what's going to happen from this, because then all of a sudden, like, all kinds of good stuff starts happening. But let's go to Josh. What do you think was your biggest takeaway from the conference, Josh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I couldn't agree more with what you said about networking. Is got to be the most important thing about these conferences. Like I always hear you say, like, your network is your net worth. And I've been to a couple conferences before, nothing e-commerce related, mostly real estate related, and I've always been like kind of a shyer type guy. So like I would go right at the beginning of the conference when it was starting, not like an hour before when the networking was actually happening, because I didn't want to talk to people. This time I actually got there first thing, and I networked as much as possible, kind of got out of my comfort zone. And I met a ton of great people because of that. Those relationships that I built are going to be way more valuable than the information I actually got at the conference. But some key takeaways. Number one, I realized that not many people are doing Amazon wholesale. A lot of people are doing private label, online arbitrage, and retail arbitrage. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe they think the barrier to entry is high, or it's just not as, maybe it's not as sexy or as popular because everybody's talking about private label and RA and OA. But that's one thing for sure I saw in the room, is not many people are doing wholesale. Number two, one major thing that I picked up, if anybody's in private label, is the power of using social media influencers to boost your products. It was Anthony Bowie Tran, I think his name was. That was his presentation, and I thought that was a great presentation about or speech about utilizing social media influencers. That's a genius idea. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's, the biggest takeaways I actually got from it. The networking was the biggest part, like you said. You could put earplugs in the whole time and then take them out when it comes to networking time, and get everything you need out of that conference. So,
right.
Yeah. Another thing too, sorry, one last thing is that,
no, go for it.
I was shocked at how many Amazon sellers were in the room, because I didn't think there were so many Canadians doing what we're doing and express the interest in the e-commerce like we were doing. So, I thought people like myself and Chris were very few in between kind of doing this stuff. So that was really cool to see people, that are local hustlers, resellers that are doing the same kind of thing. So yeah, right. It was awesome, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. I always tell people the same thing too, like, because I'll do little meetups or whatever, and then people will come out to meet me, and they want to talk to me, or they want to take a selfie or whatever. And I trust me, I definitely want to talk to you and definitely want to take a selfie and all that. But the value is in talking to the other people that showed up, that they might be your neighbor across the street, and you didn't know that they were doing a similar thing to you. Unless, until, I'm like the common connector or whatever, they show up, and then it's like, no, like, forget me, like, you guys need to talk. And so you guys can help each other out, so you guys can just, bounce ideas off of each other. Because one of the things about being in e-commerce is it's kind of lonely, right? You don't have coworkers that you work with. Like, if you work a 9 to 5, like, chances are you hang out after work or on your off days with people that you work with. They like become your friends, right? You just don't have time to have like a whole separate life. I mean, some people do or whatever, but with reselling, if you can connect with like-minded people, that's like really awesome. Because a lot of people in reselling, like, even when you're making good money, people think it's like, it's scandalous what you do, or they think it's not a real job, or you know, they just don't understand it, you know, and like maybe you just want to be like excited and be like, yo, I got these PlayStations for 15 and I sold them for 85 and I got 12 of them. What? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
and your family doesn't want to hear that. Like your girlfriend doesn't want to hear that. Like they don't give a crap, right? They're not resellers.
I totally agree, man. It's definitely a lonely grind by yourself being a reseller for sure. Having the community though is, you know, ever since I've been talking to you guys and the conference and stuff, it's been like night and day difference. So, you know, exchanging numbers, being able to DM people and bounce ideas off of, or, you know, just network has been awesome. So
Are you guys both members of Dang and Dixon's
Yeah,
Facebook group
yeah, that's hands down the best Facebook group there is
for
yeah,
Canada?
for
I'm a
Canada.
member now, but I just became a member after the conference. I had no idea that the group even existed until the conference. So
Did you use Facebook for personal stuff?
not really. I've kind of shifted over to Instagram more, but
Yeah, Instagram is the jam, but
yeah.
Facebook groups are like very, very insightful. Like
They're gold mines.
throw Facebook away and then just keep the groups and it wouldn't affect me. Like the groups are the best part about Facebook.
Yeah, you're right.
It's huge. So shout out to Dang and Dixon for putting that conference on and for having their Facebook group. If you guys want to know, want the link for their group, comment down below, and I will put that. I'll reply to your comment with Dang and Dixon's Facebook group. But what Josh said reminded me that you, the person who's watching this right now, you or listening to this on the podcast, you need to get on Instagram, bro. What are you doing? How come you're not on Instagram yet? Like, for some reason, there's this huge divide between YouTube and Instagram, and I don't know if like you don't want to go to Instagram or like you're on Instagram, you don't want to come to YouTube or whatever, but like go to Instagram and check it out. Like come back to YouTube, watch your videos, gear subscriptions, whatever. But Instagram is the spot where all the resellers, the thrifters, the flippers, like that's where we're all communicating on a daily basis. Like the reality is it's like YouTube is really formal. For me to make a YouTube video, even if it's a live video, I have to schedule it. I have to get these guys in, or I'm shooting a video that I'll have to plan out. I have to edit it. It takes time. Like I can just like snap a picture of the PlayStations I just found and like post some crap. And then you can be watching, you can be on Instagram and be like, oh, dang, I didn't know PlayStations were worth money. Now,
Yep.
boom, you literally just made money by following someone on Instagram and it was free, right? And it's fast and it's like passive and it's like there's a lot of chatting and a lot of commenting and like I don't know. I can't really explain it, but I love Instagram. The community on Instagram is like total fam.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. Like, stop consuming so much content on YouTube and start communicating and interacting with people on Instagram, because the community is out there and everybody is super accepting and, you know, willing to help each other out and just answer questions, you know? So yeah, like Reezy said, get out there and get on.
Yeah, in a weird way, it kind of reminds me of skateboarding, whereas like in skateboarding, anybody's accepted. Like it doesn't matter. As long as you like skateboarding and you want to do it, like
Yep.
you're accepted and welcome. And that's kind of how I feel about Instagram. And so I urge you guys to come to Instagram and check it out because the water's warm. You can still watch all your YouTube videos or listen to them while you're packing your shipments or whatever, which is like obviously you can't be on your phone on Instagram if you're trying to pack a shipment. So definitely worth doing. Anything else you guys want to touch on?
I don't know. I think we hit, you know, pretty much everything that I've got a couple bulletin things written down here, but you nailed them all, Reezy. So yeah, man, those are the key differences, I would say. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much if you're gonna start on .ca, go wide, super wide, don't go deep. And that's the only tip I got, really.
Right, unless you maybe you know about it or you sent 3 in, they sold right away, then you get maybe 6 or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Make sure you learn how to read the keep a chart, you know, just standard reselling type of stuff. And like Chris said, don't go too deep on some things until you test the waters a little bit, because it's not going to be like .com where you send in 100 units and expect to just them fly off the shelf type of thing. So
how did you get into wholesale, Josh, or what was the process for that? Like, was it difficult? Was it easy?
So it's more difficult than than the barrier to entry is higher than selling books or selling used stuff. Basically, you need to have a business presence. You need to actually open up a business, have a registered tax number. You're going to be reaching out to brands itself or distributors and actually asking them to open up retail accounts with them. You have to look professional, act professional. You got to really play the part that you're a business. You got to be a businessman. So when I say that, like, that's why I say the barrier to entry is higher. It's not impossible. I have no experience whatsoever with sales, e-commerce, wholesale, whatever, and I was able to get myself right into it. So, yeah, man, like, if anybody has any questions, like, more in depth, like how to get started and stuff, I can absolutely answer that stuff.
Do you have a YouTube video about that?
It's funny. I don't have a YouTube video about that. But that's on my agenda of videos to make. If the demand is there and people want to know how to get into wholesale.
I'm asking you, so I'm sure some other people are.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, I'll start making videos for that kind of stuff if you guys are interested, for sure.
Yeah, that's one thing that I tell people who are content creators. Like, if people ask you questions are content, right? And like, I'm gonna like coin that phrase, like, questions are content. When people ask you a question, that's an idea for content, because I could type my reply to you, or if I had a video already made, I could just give you the link to the video. And what's the chances are that you asking me that question are the only person that has that question? Zero. Goose egg, right? So questions are content. Use your audience questions as suggestions for creating content.
For sure. Yeah, that's key, man. Definitely.
Someone was asking about shoes in Canada. Do you need to get ungated to sell, like, for example, Nike in Canada and stuff like that?
Yeah, you do, but it's pretty easy. It just approve it. Like, they approve everything fast. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really need invoices for stuff unless it's something super rare like Legos.
Right. Nice. Canadians are really nice. Like, I honestly, people are like, how was Canada? And I was like, dude, it was cold, but they were so nice. Like, I would step on someone's foot, and before I could apologize, they would apologize. It's like, dude, how are you apologizing? I stepped on your foot. This makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that one thing I found for sure, is that there are a lot of brands, like the big brands, you are going to be gated in. But like Chris said, it's a lot easier to get ungated. Like, in the States, they require invoices and stuff like that. Here, half the time, you can just simply apply and you'll instantly get ungated.
Yeah, auto ungated.
Auto ungated. And some things, they'll just auto ungate you based on your previous sales history. So I found, like, a lot of things when I first started selling on Amazon, I was gated and they wouldn't ungate me unless I had invoices and so on and so forth. But as I established myself on Amazon, they just auto ungate me for things now. So sometimes you just gotta kind of keep grinding, keep pushing through, get your sales up, and then you build almost like a rapport, like a trust with Amazon, and then they'll ungate you for things. So
yeah, 100%.
You just got to put in the work.
So here's a good question. Someone is asking, what's the cheapest way to ship to Canada from America? Do either of you know? And I would assume maybe there's like cross-border services, like does Run in Red and Stallion, do they go both ways?
Stallion, I don't know if they do it, but probably Running Red would do it if you just ask them.
Nice. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Why wouldn't they? I mean, they probably don't have a lot of inquiries or business for that, but yeah, after this show, Canada market's screwed.
Yeah, no, I think it would have to be like a whole skid, because like doing one at a time, it's just not worth it.
Right. Let's go on the some outro questions here. So, Josh, if you could give yourself one tip, like let's say it's like day one, you just saw your first Reezy video and you're like, I'm going to start doing this. If you could go back in time to that moment and give yourself like one tip, what would it be?
My number one tip
to yourself 5 minutes after you decided to start selling online.
Man, it'd probably be go harder. I took things really slow at the beginning because I was so unsure of myself, unsure of the platforms I was selling on. And I just didn't, I think I had the same question that most people have, is you think like, is this real? Like, can you actually make money doing this stuff? Like, can you buy used stuff and sell it and make full-time income? I doubted myself for a long time, and yeah, if I could go back, I would have doubled down. I would have worked harder, and I would have just went all in right away, and realized that this stuff is real. Like you can supplement your income, you can make money doing this, and believe in it. This isn't just some stuff that people are talking about.
So essentially, you would have went back in time, grabbed yourself by the shoulder, and been like, "Yes,
Oh,
Josh,
dude,
it's
yeah,
real."
absolutely. Yeah, I know, I'm kind of beating it, but like, man, yeah, go hard and do it. It's real. So
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. And that's kind of what I like to do with my channel, because I realize I actually don't really give too much like click here, do this, do that. Like I prefer to just be like, yeah, it's real, go get it. Like it'll work,
yeah,
And if you want it, like hopefully I can convey some kind of trust to you through the camera, like it's real. I'm not like renting Lamborghinis and saying, I'm a millionaire when really just sold $1 million in courses and I've never even sold FBA or whatever. But that's the reality of is like if you can relate to someone and you can trust them, then you like think it's real. But like if you don't, you never know till you really try it. So
exactly.
it's always helpful to like, if you ever had like a friend who did something that you were like, oh dang, Tommy's doing it.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I'm about to take this over.
yeah, man.
What about you, Chris? What would be your number one tip to yourself when you first got started?
Learn Keepa. Like for the first 6 months, I didn't know what that was. I just scanned stuff and look, good rank, it's gonna sell, ship
Right.
it in. I had to pull a lot of stuff out of the warehouse.
So just
So
learning how to read Keepa charts and how sales rank moves.
yeah. It's actually it's not too complicated, but there is you do got to learn that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I understand that fully because for the longest time, maybe 2 to 3 years, because I've been doing it for almost 14 years now, I didn't realize that sales rank moved. I didn't understand, I didn't know about Keepa, I didn't know it charts, I didn't realize sales rank moved. And when I realized it, I was like, oh, like, wow. Because then I'm like, like say if you're not buying books over 2 million, you know what I mean? But then it sells one and now the rank is like 650,000.
Yeah.
And like on Monday it was 2 million and you didn't buy it, but then it sold one and now it's 650,000 and now you will buy it. That makes no sense. So obviously once you realize that, you have to change your game up, and then this was long before there was average rank on any type of platforms or anything. So now we have average rank and we have sales count. They're measuring the sales rank and counting the amount of times that it drops to a lower number during a period of time. And so we have a lot more stuff at hand. But yeah, I feel you on the Keepa stuff, man. The Keepa is huge.
Yeah, Keep is definitely important, man.
So let's see. I see a lot of comments in the chat. People are like, Reezy, you got the squinty eyes. What's wrong with you? You're tired. I'm always tired. I'm not intoxicated, even though it's legal here. I just but also what happens is I look down at the screen a lot instead of looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And so my eyes are. And then my wife always says that like she thinks the milkman was Asian because she's like, you might be part Asian, Reezy. I don't know. Anyways, so let's go on with a little outro question. Both of you guys each have a question. What you get to ask the audience a question. Like, what is your question for the audience? You each get to ask the audience one, and we'll get some replies in the comments. Josh.
All right. Man, you kind of caught me off guard here. I have no idea what to ask.
Are you subscribed to Josh Profits on YouTube?
I was gonna say I'm gonna be a little selfish here, and I'm gonna ask, how many people or who wants to learn about wholesale? Because if anybody wants to learn about wholesale, then I'm gonna start putting out some videos on it, and yeah, anybody in the chat, let me know what you want to know or if you want to know about it, because I'm pretty much an expert at it at this point.
So let me summarize. Josh's question is,
thank you.
What type thank you. What type of content would you guys like to see Josh create? And that will help him to make more content.
That's a good way of putting it. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Shout out to B2B Stack up in here, Crypto Genius.
Nice.
Nadirka Durkazar said you already taught him about wholesale. I feel like he's trolling me with his YouTube name.
Turkey. That's funny, man.
And what about you, Chris?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a funny question because I never really thought about it. I don't know. I do Instagram. Like I don't really do YouTube too much. Like I don't do that at all. So
Right.
I don't know.
Just check Chris out on Instagram, guys. The links are down below. And Chris, I left my beanie in your car.
Oh,
but don't worry about sending it back to me because
So-
I think it's gonna cost too much to send it back to me.
Yeah,
It's fresh though. I wore it for one day before I lost it in your car.
it's nice. I'm gonna flip it.
Yeah, you can
I was
sell it.
gonna say, I might-
Honestly, those are on sale. Buy one, get one half off right now. So you could get 2 for $22. And I looked them up on eBay and they weren't going for much, which I was disappointed because they're nice new era beanies, you know?
Yeah, they're nice.
So if you can flip it, flip it. Otherwise, you know, if it can keep your ears warm in the cold Canada tundra, that's awesome.
Chris, if I were you, I would order that Reezy flask and I would pair that together. And then when Reezy gets on Ellen, I'd flip that thing up on eBay.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good bundle.
Yeah, well, I truly appreciate having you guys here. If you're watching this or listening to this, please go check out Josh Profits on YouTube or ToonieFlip on Instagram. That's TOONIE Flip on Instagram. And we would definitely appreciate that. I got a saying around here, guys. You know what it is? If you ain't flipping,
you're slipping.
Yep, you slipping. Thank you, guys. Please don't forget to tickle the like button A on your way out. I would appreciate it. And have a good day. And just comment down below if you guys have any questions about Canada. And I'll see you on next Monday's video, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks again for coming, guys.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks for showing up, guys. Peace.